That shows you what Eddie's made of. He's got the heart of a lion. Real athlete. Good service by Eddie. He's totally focused. Yeah, match point. Joe's standing right on the long one. He must pick up his service, must have a good return. Maisonet. Wonderful performance by Howie Eisenberg. Joe was not in that game. Okay, folks, that's the singles final of the year. 1996 Singles Nationals. The winner is Eddie Maisonet. Wonderful, great Howie Eisenberg here on this beautiful day. Howie, how did you like that that final game between Eddie and Joe?
I was frankly disappointed.
How come?
Well, to me, a champion. I mean, Eddie played the way you're supposed to play. You know, he played aggressively. He hit low serves. He went for fly kills. He went for kill shots. And Joe, who has been a really good champion, allowed himself to lose by just playing a sort of a counter-punching game without playing the truly aggressive way that champions have played in one wall throughout the years. I mean, he's content to return serves softly and not set the ball up and try to win long rallies. To me, that's not one-wall handball singles. One-wall handball is the way Joe used to play when he was younger, which is to hit the ball 90 miles an hour on the serve, a big angle, come with a fly kill or a 90-mile-an-hour drive, and you know, disappointing to me.
How would you try to attack Eddie? I think I'm getting an idea. I think I'm getting a glimmer. I mean, he's incredibly consistent and incredibly strong, but he seems to put the ball in the same place. In every situation, he always makes the same decision. How would you attack him if you were at your best and you were about to go up against him?
Well, actually, I wouldn't be as concerned about what he does. I'd be looking to do what I do best, which would be to, you know, hit a very good offensive serve and to either kill the return or put myself in a position to win the point in you know, 1 to 3 shots. Defensively, I mean, Joe is great defensively, but you know, there were shots when balls hit to Joe's right, especially at the end of the tiebreaker, where he could have swung hard at the ball and he elected to just hit a spin shot to not hit a setup, but he wound up on the defensive being moved. Whereas if you can blast that service return back, you can take the offense. I mean, the one-wall singles is get up there, and once you get up, you're going to run 2, 3, 5, 6 points. I mean, it's a game of serves and second shots.
Okay. Now, in the last interview we tried, which we practically it was practically in the darkness, and we created an image of you as a mafia leader. We were talking about the image of the warrior, and in a certain way, a lot of what you're saying has to do with the image of the warrior and how a player on the court, how he becomes another person, almost leonine. Could you speak about that change in yourself and how you feel about it in retrospect, and how you still feel about it? Because I saw you on the court on this weekend and you were still doing it.
Well, I know that I've mellowed, but it used to be tremendously important, you know, for us to win the matches. I'm sure it's important to these guys to win, but it possibly was all out of proportion. And you know, we virtually would do almost anything to win. The protocol in one-wall handball, unlike four-wall, has not been a gentleman's type of genteel game. Not that four-wall is so genteel, but compared to one-wall it is. Players, even years ago, would call wrist balls, they'd call two bounces against themselves, whereas that was unheard of in one-wall the way it was played in New York anyway, and it really wasn't played competitively outside of the New York area. You didn't feel you were cheating or being a bad guy because that was the milieu. I mean, the thing to do was to take whatever advantage you could within your own code of ethics. I mean, people would stop at various things. Some people would stop at nothing. To me, there were two things I would never do, and I don't know why I would not do the first one, because it probably wasn't any worse than some of the things I did do. I would never wet the ball, and I would never go into somebody's arm. You know, the latter, of course, is a matter of you know, injuring somebody, so I was real sensitive about that one. Other than that, I had no compunction about screaming out on a ball that I knew was good, or screaming short if it was good, or vice versa, or two if I knew the guy got the ball on one, or if I got the ball on two, it didn't matter. I mean, it was a matter of, it was like a war. I mean, our opponents, we weren't amiable with our opponents, they were our enemies. In fact, you know, my primary opponents, we even felt there was something more than the handball. You know, there was a ethnic type of thing going on at the time, whether real or imagined, so that made it even more acute.
The ethnic thing, could you go into...
No, I'd rather not go into that.
All right. I know that in your games with Steve Sandler on the court, the two of you had really gone at each other like a pair of gladiators. Had you been able to maintain a friendship or amiability or any kind of communication off the court?
Well, that was the amazing thing about my relationship with Stevie. We would kill each other to win. You know, not literally, but you know, we would kill ourselves to win, dive, scrape ourselves, cheat whatever way we could, but off the court, you know, we would sometimes gamble for big stakes, and if one guy was behind, the other guy would continue to play all night long. He would play gin rummy or knock rummy, and until the other guy had a chance to win it back. So we were friends apart from the handball. Every once in a while, the confrontation on the court would be so extreme that we wouldn't talk to each other for 2 or 3 months, but through the years, we maintained our friendship, and I believe that we needed each other. I mean, Stevie's greatness is defined in his victories over me, and you know, whatever ability I had is defined on those matches with him, as well as with some of my other contemporaries, but primarily with him.
Now, I just wonder if the ritual that you're talking about, because on a certain level handball is a ritual, you survive it. It's a game of life and death that you survive, which is a kind of a paradox. Had there been some need of that in the cultural milieu of your time that has become either less or has become less important?
The life or death aspect?
Yeah, because you know the kind of desperation and the kind of life and death aspect that you're talking about on the court suggests that there's a primal need for that in the spirit.
Well, we grew up in an era where handball was, you know, the most participated in sport by adults in the New York metropolitan area. I grew up watching guys like Vic Hershkowitz and Moe Ornstein play exhibitions every weekend, or money games at the Brighton Beach Baths, and you know, this intensity of competition, this win at all costs was there in you know, when I was 3 years old I was watching this, so this became ingrained in me, you know, that this is the way you play handball. And then, you know, putting things in perspective, what does it really mean? I mean, it's nice to be, you know, the best in a sport, but, you know, it was not a money sport. We weren't going to make a living out of handball. Even today, with a pro tour and four-wall, and a little bit of money in one-wall, the best players can't survive by just playing handball. They have to have other jobs.
I saw you play, and you still take a tremendous physical pride in yourself. You still have a leonine attitude about the game, and you're 57 years old. I wonder whether are you set apart as you live in California from a lot of other people who are 57 years old? You know, because of that physical pride. in yourself.
No, in fact, I sort of have a tendency to minimize the significance of age group tournaments because, like someone asked me over here, why are you playing in the Open tournament? Why don't you play with boys your own age? Or you know, the old guys.
Right.
And to me, there's only 6 national championships. There's the singles and doubles in 1-wall, 3-wall, and 4-wall, the open events. And the guys who win those are the national champions. The people over 40, it is significant to win that. There's a lot of guys who are in very good shape. A lot of guys who maybe were mediocre players, maybe didn't even play handball. Maybe they were good athletes. And as they got older, they started to play handball as you know, a conditioning or an avocation. And then they got into tournaments, and to them it's real important to win an over 40 or an over 50. To me, the fact that I'm eligible for an over 50 is a source of not really embarrassment. I mean, I am what I am, and I'm older now, but I can't fool myself into thinking that it's significant to win a quote national championship for people over 50. So when I had an opportunity to play with a young fellow who, even though it was a long shot, and it was possible for us to conceivably win, and I think we proved it in the close loss to the defending champions when we lost by a point to
Yeah, right.
to Maisonet-Williams.
It could have gone the other way.
To me, that was, even having a 1 out of 10 chance to win the Open Championship was far more significant than having a 2-to-1 chance to win the over 50, which isn't to say that I would have, because I haven't really played 1-wall in 10 years to speak of, except for a few times in the last month or so.
I noticed in that match, I think you scored more points on offense than Toddy, who was sort of out of it for that match. He was not as much of a presence on offense as you were, and he didn't seem to have the court game that you had.
That's not how I saw it. I mean, you were on the outside, but I would be nowhere without Tati, without his power, without his retrieving. Tati is not a 1-wall player, but he's a super athlete and a super handball player. And while he didn't really know, 1-wall intimately, he had learned, some. He made a lot of mistakes, but he was the one who was really carrying the game. I mean, I was just trying to hang in there. I mean, the only thing I did, I think, that perhaps changed that second game after we'd gotten killed in the first game and we're losing in the second, was we changed the strategy of trying to get to the guy we thought was the weaker player, who was Paul Williams, who happened to be returning the ball a lot better than Eddie Maisonet. And then when I started serving to Eddie Maisonet, for whatever reason, he seemed to be real leery, even though I had, no velocity on my serve, but it was a little bit of a hook, and he was real careful at hitting the ball softly back.
I think you were hitting to his left and high, and you were driving the ball, and that's the weakest aspect of Eddie's game. I thought that was your strategy, no, Howie?
My strategy was to serve the ball deep, and always, if you can hit the ball to the guy's left. Like, to me, the smartest 1-wall player I ever saw was Moe Ornstein. If you watched, and he was probably the best doubles player I ever saw. It's moot, because I idolized Vic Kirschkowitz, and I loved the way he played. He played the way this kid Tati Silveira plays, with an completely ambidextrous left, and really fast, and a power game and power serves. Whereas Moe was a thinking player who had a lot of ability, but if you watched Moe play, you'd see that every shot he hit in doubles was either in front of himself, in front of his partner, to the guy's left on the right side, or a kill shot. Every shot he hit, there was, he may not always have succeeded, or he certainly succeeded most of the time in hitting one of those 4 shots. And that was one of the things, that perhaps if Tati and I could have played against some real 1-wall players a number of times, it would have become more natural to Tati to hit the ball in front of me. I was trying to get in front of Paul Williams.
That's hard to do.
Well, I did get in front of him a lot, but it's to no avail if your partner doesn't use you. When I'm in front of him, then the shot is to either hit the ball in front of me, or if Paul tries to get in front of me, then drive the ball.
Sure. Now, can I ask you this? As you meet people who are not athletes, and who haven't got the physical sense of themselves that you have, do you feel as if they lack a knowledge of themselves that you have?
necessarily. I mean, I think just because somebody's an athlete doesn't mean that he has it all together psychologically.
No, but are you a different kind of person? I don't mean are you superior, but are you different? Are there levels of consciousness that you have because you are an athlete?
I think
If the answer is no, it's fine.
the importance of being superior in a sport can have, to an individual, can have carryovers into other aspects of his life. It can give him, more confidence in dealing with other aspects. But the reason why people become superior athletes frequently, paradoxically, might reflect some sort of character flaw. The need to excel is perhaps a reaction to a sense of inferiority, or a constant need to prove that you're better than than people may think you are, or show them how superior you are. So I don't think the fact that you're a superior athlete necessarily means that you've got it all together. I mean, it's something which potentially, and maybe for the most part, is a confidence builder in other aspects, but not always. I mean, especially in this sport where people didn't make any money, there were guys who were great handball players, and they really couldn't make a living in the outside world. And I don't know what that did to their psyche. I mean, the fact that they had handball to lean back on was good. But, I guess it can work both ways.
Yeah. Can we talk about your son who was trying to bat 800, and he certainly is, and he was unhappy because he was only hitting 700. He's a tremendous athlete. He's a person of will. How do you see him? Is he a person, who is run by a certain kind of inner sense of torment, or is he a person who simply would like to be ideal and perfect, or some third possibility?
Both. Both of the first two. He would like to be perfect, and it's a torment to him that he can't be perfect. And what you're alluding to is where he happened to need to go 4 for 4 to actually hit 800 in high school. He was leading his high schools by 200 percentage points anyway. And when he went 2 for 2 and then on a check swing pop-up fouled out, he punched a wall because he realized he couldn't hit 800. Now, ordinary people would be very happy to hit 400 even in high school. But if you have unrealistic expectations, that's different from striving to do as best you can and being realistic about it. And unfortunately, in my boy's case, he expects or hopes to do things that are virtually impossible. I mean, if he doesn't hit a home run every game, he thinks it's a failure. So I never had that sort of attitude. My objective was to win. I guess I was happier when I played better, but winning was more important than anything, especially if it was a national championship.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you a last question, Howie. I want to thank you for your time. Have you, as you have grown into your rightness, have you got a measure of detachment from all this? I mean, I can see that you do. Have you had the same quality of standing back and saying, "What is this?" in the days of your greatness?
No. I mean, as with most people, you become less intense about things, more reflective. You temper your opinions with experience, and perhaps can see things closer to the way they really are than through the limited viewpoint of what you're focused on, when you're younger.
And I presume that you prefer the older to the younger.
Well, as far as a peace of mind, obviously I'd like to, if I had a choice, the old Howie or with however he thought, or me now, I'd certainly like to be young again, but that's not possible. So given that I can't turn back the hands of time, I'll accept some of the rewards of getting older, which is a greater experience and perhaps a truer perspective on the way things are.
Right. So it's more honest. It's more sane. All of those things.
Yeah,
Okay.
sane is a good word.
Yeah. So if you look at the Homeric question of whether it's a lot better to die a glorious and to have a short and glorious life, you prefer this one.
Well, if you're talking about it's, the corollary of that is better
to live a
loved
short and
lost.
glorious life as opposed to a long
Right.
and complicated life.
Well, I think people who lead their lives and really vegetate, I don't know that their life is better, even if they live to 90, than somebody who does live to 45 and lives every minute of it. But I can appreciate the different stages of life, and I believe that you should, with prudent consideration, go for what you want. What gives you pleasure or satisfaction. The things in life that I'm sorry about are rarely things that I've done, but things that I haven't done. So, taking your shot, whether it's to go into a business that you really would like to go into, and even if you fail, at least you took your shot. If you didn't take it, you say, oh, if only I had done this, I would have led a different life. So that's how I feel. I mean, that's really why I'm here now. I mean, it was a real long shot that we could win the open doubles, but I wanted to take my shot. And, we did. We took our shot.
And I thought you played it quite interestingly, and it was quite marvelous to see, the mass. Hey, folks, here we go. This is
0-0.
the final match of the doubles championship. That's Paul Williams with that overhead shot. And the match is between, that's Al Torres with that wonderful left-handed shot. And the match is between Al Torres and Robert Sostre, who are up. Al Torres is serving
0-0.
against Eddie Maisonet and Paul Williams. Here comes Al. This is a very interesting match for a lot of reasons. It's four very different styles. Al and Robert really complement each other beautifully. So do Paul and Eddie. Al is a killer, Al's a hitter. And Robert keeps the ball in play. They're former champions. They were champions 3 years ago. But the reigning champions are Paul and Eddie, the ones who we're looking at right now.
One
All
serving
right.
0.
Here comes second service. Robert claims he hasn't got a good serve. Serves pretty good to me.
Nice
Williams does a lot of falling down.
0 serving 1.
Here's Eddie. He's flush off his victory over Joe Durso. The singles championship. He wants the doubles too. He's been pretty much dominating the singles handball for the past couple of years.
Serving 1. Shot!
I guess Eddie's a little tired today after 3 days of playing. He's not getting his first service in.
Serving 1.
But it doesn't even matter much, does it?
Shot!
Al was smart. You move over a couple steps to the right. But that's where Eddie's serve is going to go. Going close to the right.
Serving 1.
To the hook.
Shot!
See? Yeah, there it is. Aren't you lucky I'm behind the camera?
Go.
Oh, shit.
And he looks a little frustrated at that one. This is a very common shot in doubles. 4 people standing on the short line swinging away. Not a lot of
No fault.
lift shots to get people off the short line.
Oh, good shot. Right off the wall. Right off the wall.
2 serving 4. Serving 4.
Torres serving.
Block.
On whom?
1 fault.
I said at the beginning of this match that I thought Al and Robert were going to take it. I think Al is playing better.
Oh, shit. Can't give it a roll.
3 serving 4. Tied at 4.
4-4. Okay, we're going to watch the defensive players now.
Sorry, Paul.
Ooh, they ran into each other. Lucky shot, huh?
5 serving 4. Shot. Shot.
How about that? As Mel Allen used to say.
4 serving 5. Shot.
Oh, it's a weak second service. I wonder whether that's worth doing. Seems to me there must be some compromise available for second service. Well, it's unlike Eddie.
4 serving 5.
They just come
Tied
up.
at 5.
Caught the wall.
Okay, Al Torres is up.
5 serving 5.
Yeah, I played the ball. I need to.
6 serving 5.
It works.
Outside.
Al has not really been a force in this tournament, even though he's in the finals.
7 serving 5. Shot.
Whoa, some serve. Ooh, that ball just died. Unbelievable serve, huh?
8 serving 5.
Isn't it wonderful how Al mixes them up?
One second.
Okay, here's Robert
8
Sostre.
serving 5.